back to my YouTube channel. Today we got a video that I'm not really that excited to make, but it's gotta be done. Today we're doing a tier list, as you can see, and it's gonna be on Barca record arrivals. I have Barca's 12 most expensive arrivals right here, from least expensive to most expensive, obviously, and we're gonna put them onto a tier list today. The reason why I'm not excited for this video is because, as you can tell by the pictures here, there's very few players that actually ended up being good for the club. There's a lot of flops. And yeah, this is not going to be fun whatsoever, but we're going to do it anyway. We got the tiers on the side today. We got 4 tiers: Club Legend, Looking Good, Looking Bad, and Flop. Club Legend, pretty self-explanatory. Those middle 2 tiers, however, are reserved for players who are currently playing for the club, and we can't label them flops, or we can't say they're Club Legends because obviously their Barca career arc is still ongoing. And then the final one, Flop, you guys know what that is. Players who have left the club and, you know, the impact that they made at the club while they were there. This should be pretty fun, not for me, but for you guys. And if you guys have any other team, maybe your team, whatever team you support, maybe you, like any team you guys want to see me do this with, like rank their most expensive transfer fees, let me know in the comment section because I love to do that shit. It's really fun for me, especially when I can do a team that's not mine and I don't have to fucking cry every time I see these pictures. But anyway, in case you don't know who these players are, let's go through them. We got Lewandowski, Jules Koundé, Ferran Torres, Rafinha, Pjanic, Zlatan, Luis Suarez, Frankie de Jong, Neymar, Antoine Griezmann, Ousmane Dembélé, and then finally Philippe Coutinho. Like I said, from least to most expensive. So yeah, this should be entertaining. I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's get into the actual tier list now. Starting off with Robert Lewandowski. To me, he's going to go into the looking bad category. Now, obviously, he's still playing for the club right now, so I can't put him in flop. But the moment he leaves Barca, which I'm hoping is sooner rather than later, he will go into flop for me. Now, people might think I'm being harsh, but this guy to me just hasn't delivered. He came in at 33 years old for 45 million from Bayern Munich, which in the previous 2 seasons, by the way, he had won a treble with Bayern and would have won the Ballon d'Or if COVID didn't cancel it. And in 2021, a lot of people argue that he should have won the Ballon d'Or over Messi. Now, I disagree, but he had the stats to back that up, and he was great that year. And even before that, like the 6-7 years prior to that, when he was at Bayern Munich, he was one of the most productive players in the world, in the argument for the best player in the world after Messi and Ronaldo, along with Suarez and Bale and Neymar and all these different guys and Benzema. But then he comes to Barca, and in his time at Barcelona, he's made 63 appearances for the club. He's scored 41 goals, has 12 assists. He's won a La Liga. He's won a Super Cup, which, like, you know, at face value look like good stats and good accomplishments, you know, winning a league title, winning a Super Cup. But if you actually watch Barca, which I do every game, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you have some ties to Barca. Maybe you're a fan. Maybe you watch the club anyway. You know that he has not been good, especially this season and at the end of last season. Post World Cup, he's been utterly fucking terrible. In front of goals, sometimes I don't know what the fuck he's doing. His link-up play is terrible. I mean, his first touch is god-awful. He just doesn't provide much for the club. And I thought he was going to be like our saving grace, right? Because we had my man who I actually think was better for Barca in the short time he was there than Lewandowski. That's a conversation for a different day. We had Ferran Torres playing as a false nine. We had fucking Luke de Jong, who, you know, the streets will never forget, but he's not a UCL winning number 9. And we bring in Lewandowski, who we think is this missing piece. And don't get me wrong, he's had some good moments for the club, but he has just not delivered, bro. Against United, ghosted in the Europa League. Against Bayern Munich, his former club, both games in the Champions League, ghosted. Against Inter at the Camp Nou, he was good, but against Inter in the San Siro in the Champions League, I'm talking about not this year, the previous year, obviously, wasn't great. So to me, Robert Lewandowski, looking at his time so far at Barcelona, he just hasn't been good for 45 million, especially when Barca brought him in, which was last season, and the club was still in really bad financial situation. That is a big amount of money to spend for Barca. And, you know, he just hasn't been good at all. Not good whatsoever. I cannot wait for Victor Roque to come in, because this guy, the longer he stays at Barca, our attack will continue to be stagnant. And for some reason, Xavi has this obsession with never taking him out of games, never subbing him out, like just playing him every single game, and he does nothing for most of the games. So again, a long rant on Lewandowski, but I had to get that off my chest, because this guy, to me, people talk about how, oh, Barca don't give him service, Barca don't do this, Barca don't do that, you guys are plastic fans, you guys don't love him. Watch the games, bro. He's fucking terrible for us. Post-World Cup, he's been god-awful. So yeah, Robert Lewandowski, 100% is going to be in looking bad. Jules Koundé, looking good. I mean, this guy's been amazing. He's going to be a club legend to me. If he stays at the club, he will be a club legend. Barca paid 50 million for him from Sevilla, and he's been insanely good. And he's made 55 appearances for the club. He has 2 goals, 7 assists. He's won a La Liga. He's won a Super Cup. Obviously, you don't measure a center back or a defender by goals and assists, so we're not going to really take that into account because those numbers aren't really great. But 7 assists is pretty good for a fucking center back. But anyway, this guy, this season prior to his injury, was in the argument for best center back in the world in terms of form. Last season was amazing, playing out of position as a right back. Did a job this season playing center back, playing right back. He can play any position in the back line, not any, but like center back or full back or right back, actually I should say, and he's done a job for us every single time. I mean, the guy is fucking amazingly good. His recovery speed is amazing, his tackling ability is amazing, his ability to play out from the back is amazing. I mean, this guy is a gem for me, a guy that I would never want to sell. This guy and Araujo and Christensen are a back line is, we're set for the next 10 years. We just keep these guys because Jules Koundé at Sevilla, he was amazing. I was so happy when we signed him because I saw the potential that he had. And then coming into Barca, like I said, the dude's been insanely good. I love this guy. One of my favorite players at Barca currently. I hope he never leaves the club. Along with Araujo, I mean, these guys are the future for us. So 100% looking good. And like I said, when he leaves, he'll probably go into club legend for me. For this next player, who's obviously Ferran Torres, I decided to add a new tier. And that's going to be looking medium because I didn't know where to put him. I'm going to put him in looking medium because I don't know if he's looking good or looking bad. Ferran Torres to me is such a confusing player. He came in for 55 million, obviously, from Man City. He's made 90 appearances for the club. He's scored 19 goals and 11 assists. He's won a La Liga. He's won a Super Cup. But to me, bro, I really don't know what to say with Ferran. I mean, this season, he's actually, like, people don't want to hear this, but he's been one of our most productive attackers because he's actually been really good for us. Last season, he had his moments, but he wasn't great. The season when he came in mid-season, well, obviously Xavi's first year, I mean, like, he's had some good moments. He's terrible in front of goals still, but he has these small moments of brilliance. And I really think our attack would be a lot better if we played him instead of Lewandowski. But to me, I really don't know what to say about Ferran. I mean, I didn't say he was good but wasn't great. At Man City, he was good but wasn't great. And the national team he seems to play really well. But at Barca, I really don't know what to say. Honestly, I had to make a new tier for him only because I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section how you feel about Ferran Torres. But I can't say he's looking bad because I don't think he's that bad of a player. Like I said, in front of goal, he's fucking shit. Terrible. One of the worst players I've ever seen in front of goal. But he's also not looking good. Like, he's not a guy who I would say, oh, he's been one of our best players for the past 3 years because he hasn't been. But he also hasn't been one of our worst players. And those stats aren't bad. I mean, 19 goals, 11 assists. That's what, 30 goal contributions in fucking 90 appearances, which isn't a great ratio. But again, he was playing behind guys like Fati sometimes and Dembele, of course, and obviously Lewandowski. So he doesn't get consistent playing time for this team. He's not a consistent starter. So again, I have to make a whole new tier for Ferran because I don't know what to say. But for now, we're going to say looking medium, and I hope you guys let me know in the comment section what you think of him, and then maybe we can readjust later on. Moving on to Rafinha. Should he go into the same tier as Ferran? I'm going to put him in looking medium. I'm going to put him there too because I don't know what to say about Rafinha. Barca paid 58 million for him from Leeds, of course. He's made 62 appearances for the club. He's scored 12 goals. He has 16 assists. He won a La Liga. He won a Super Cup. Rafinha to me is a weird player because he has games where he's unplayable. Honestly, he has games where he's so fucking good. Like a Clásico last year against Real Madrid where we won the Kessie goal. He was great in that game. He was fantastic in the game, but then this year against Shakhtar Donetsk, away from home, he played one of the worst games I've ever seen a player have. Honestly, no joke, go back and watch that game. He lost the ball, I think, 15 times. So I don't know what to say about Rafinha. He has that Neymar flair and look with the number 11 and the hair, and he's Brazilian and shit, but he has nothing like Neymar. I mean, he sometimes can take players on one-on-one, but other times he struggles to do that. He can beat you with speed, but he struggles to do that at times. I mean, he's got a good shot on him, but how often do they really go in? I mean, 12 goals, like, what is it, 12 goals for the club and 16 assists is great, but it's not something where I can say you're looking good. But it's also, I can't say you're looking bad. I can't put him in the same tier as Lewandowski, even though that might be kind of harsh. But again, I'm talking about, like, expectations. When we brought in Lewandowski, even though it was for a price tag that was lower, I really thought this guy was the final piece. You know, he was, like, that guy. It was like when Man City brought in Haaland. Although, albeit Barca doesn't have a team like Man City's, but I thought it was like we're bringing in a prominent number 9 who's going to come in and score a bunch of goals and be like our best player. And Lewandowski hasn't been that. But Rafinha also, I can't say he's looking that bad because I do feel like at times he's one of our most creative options out on the wing. And especially since we lost Dembele, we really lack that sometimes. But he's actually, you know what? No, I'm going to put him in looking bad because that's me. Because at that point, it's hypocritical to Lewandowski because, you know, it's the same. And he's sometimes like fucking, he's behind a 16-year-old in Lamine Yamal. I mean, come on, I can't say you're looking good at that point, looking medium at that point, you're looking bad. And also, when you pay 58 million for a player, you expect him to do more. There's already rumors of us selling him. So yeah, I'm going to rethink it now. He's going to go in looking bad because yeah, that's not great. He's looking bad. Next, we got Marlon Pjanic. He's going to go into flop for me. Now, Barca paid 60 million, but in reality, we paid nothing for him. We actually made 12 million because if you remember, we sold Arthur. It was a swap deal with Arthur. He went to Juventus for, I think, 70 million or 72 million, of course. And then we brought in Pjanic for 60 million, but in reality, we made money with Pjanic. So this is really like deceiving because he wasn't really a transfer that we brought him for a big money signing. It was just like the way the numbers played out. But Pjanic at the club, he made 60 appearances. He recorded no stats. No stats. He didn't get a goal or an assist. He won a Copa del Rey. Just a guy who was super forgettable to me. I really don't know what to say. I'm not going to spend too much time on Pjanic. I mean, he was bad. He was bad at the club, barely got playing time. A guy who was actually in the tail end of his, if you watched him his last season at Juventus, he was actually already becoming not that good of a player. He was kind of like a step behind. And then we brought him in, so, you know, we wanted to get rid of Arthur because we're going to make some more money. So I get it because Bartomeu did a bunch of stupid shit, so we have to do that for, like, the finances. But to me, Pjanic, I mean, there's really not much to say. Just not a good player. He's going to go into flop. There's really not much else to it. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Flop. Flop. Zlatan Ibrahimovic is a flop to me. Barca paid 70 million for him from Inter, of course. But the annoying part is we sold Eto'o and we brought in Lewandowski. It was kind of like a swap deal, right? We gave them Eto'o, they gave us Lewandowski. Eto'o went on to have a great season with Inter and they won the treble. He was a pivotal part of that treble-winning team. And Barca actually had one of our worst seasons under Pep Guardiola. We didn't win the Copa del Rey, we didn't win the Champions League, we won La Liga. But I mean, to me, Robert Lewandowski just wasn't that great of a player for Barca. In 46 appearances for Barca, he scored 22 goals and had 13 assists. He was, if you remember him like early on at Barca, his first 5 games, he scored in every single game. He scored a double against Zaragoza as well. He scored a great goal against Real Madrid at the Camp Nou. I remember that game like it was yesterday. That cross from Dani Alves and then Lewandowski with his leg. He did like a fucking like a karate kick, and it was a beautiful goal. He scored a double against Arsenal at the Emirates. That Arshavin game. Remember it was Arshavin, but then Lewandowski scored a double in that game, and then obviously Messi scored did the comeback at the Camp Nou. But he had some good moments for the club, but I feel like, and the trophies he won, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys. He won a La Liga, he won a Club World Cup, and he won two Super Cups, which is a good haul, but not really anything special. Just to me, he had a falling out with Pep, and Pep seems to, he tends to have problems with big personality players like Eto'o, like Yaya Toure, like Zlatan, guys who kind of have that limelight and that shine, and that could also be a Pep Guardiola problem. But towards the end of the season, he barely played for us. I mean, he would go on streaks where he would score for 3 straight games and then barely play and not score anything. So to me, Zlatan Ibrahimovic kind of the falling out with Pep and the fact they didn't really get consistent playing time is why he's a flop. Now, is it his fault? I'm not sure. But I'm going to take Pep Guardiola's side, who's the greatest manager of all time in my opinion, over Zlatan Ibrahimovic's side, who to me is a pretty overrated number 9. He's a great player, but to me he's not in the same class as Kane or Suarez or Lewa or Benzema, who are the guy, or even Aguero, who are the guys he's compared to. And to me he's a flop. Like I said, he started off at the club really well, but then as time went on, he just wasn't that productive for us. Especially for that big money signing and that big name, especially like Zlatan in 2010 was one of the best players in the world. And, he didn't really deliver for us. So, of course, he's going to go into flop. Moving on to Luisito Suarez. No doubt about this. This guy is a club legend. Luis Suarez, we brought him in for Liverpool for 82 million. He was worth every single penny. In 283 appearances for the club, he scored 195 goals, 113 assists, won a UCL, won 4 La Ligas, won 4 Copa del Rey, won a Club World Cup, won Spanish Super Cups, won European Super Cups. This guy did it all for the club. A club legend, one of the greatest, to me, the greatest number 9 of this generation, and arguably the greatest number 9 of all time, honestly. Obviously, we saw what he did at Liverpool, what he did for Uruguay, and then we brought him in to pair him up with Messi and Neymar, and they delivered. That first season they were together, it was fucking insane. That second season where he won the Golden Boot and should have arguably won the Ballon d'Or. That third season he was really good as well. Maybe at around his 4th season for the club or 5th season, he started to become a really shit finisher and just wasted so many chances. Luis Suarez, like I said, he scored 195 goals for Barca. He honestly could have had 230. He missed that many big chances when he was at the club. I remember it vividly. Now, he also scored some insanely good goals, and he was a fantastic finisher in his time. But like I said, towards the end, especially that last season when he was at Barca, he just wasn't good whatsoever. Now, obviously, he was getting older, but I can't, this guy did it all. He won a treble for us. He was pivotal in that Champions League run in 2015, the game against PSG, the goal in the final in Berlin against Juventus. In 2016, like I mentioned, had one of the best seasons by a player not named Messi or Ronaldo in the past 15 years, 20 years. A legend of the game. A legend of the game. A legend of Barcelona. I fucking love this guy. To me, he's a Barca legend more than a Liverpool legend. I remember him for his time at Barca. Now, not maybe because I'm a Barca fan, but he spent more time at Barca. He won more significant trophies while at Barca. He had a better season, in my opinion, at Barca. His best season was at Barcelona. So for that reason, Luis Suarez to me is a club legend, no doubt about it. One of the greatest number 9s, if not the greatest number 9 the game has ever seen. Don't ever put some respect on this guy's name. Insanely good player. I love this guy. By the way, when I say that I love Luis Suarez, I mean as a player. Off the pitch, I think he's kind of a douche. I just want to make that clear, by the way. But anyway, moving on to Frankie de Jong. Looking good. He's going to go into looking good for me. Frankie de Jong came in for 86 million from Ajax. Of course, that Ajax team that made the UCL semifinal and lost to Spurs. Then Matthias Ligt left, and Ziyech and Onana and all those players were on that team. We fortunately got Frankie de Jong, who's been a godsend for us. I mean, in 193 appearances for the club, he scored 16 goals, 21 assists. He's won a La Liga. He's won a Copa del Rey. He's won a Super Cup. His first season at the club, he wasn't that great, but he wasn't bad either. But then after that, he's been one of our best players consistently. To me, right now, he's the best midfielder in the world, or top 3. You could say Rodri's in there, Kevin De Bruyne, but to me, Frankie de Jong has to be in that conversation. Consistently, every time this guy's out of our lineup, we look like shit. We just saw this streak with Barca where he was out, and we looked awful. Awful. He does everything for us. He's our engine. He progresses the ball forward. He can make passes in the final third. He can defend if you need him to. He can play as a fucking center back if you want him to. He's such a versatile player. I cannot believe we almost sold this guy to fucking Man United, bro. Can you believe that? Can you guys comprehend that shit? Barca almost sold Frankie de Jong, who to me is a top 3 at worst midfielder in the world, to fucking Man United and Erik ten Hag. Fuck that. He should never leave this club for as long as we have him. Gavi, Frankie de Jong, and Pedri are going to be the next Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta. I'm sure of that because they all have that talent. Now, obviously, they're not all homegrown from the Masia like Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets are. But still, who gives a fuck, bro? This guy's fucking insane. Insanely good player. One of my favorite players to watch at Barca. Like I said, this guy does it all. Every time he's out, you know how you really see how great a player is? When he's out of the lineup, how does the team perform? And every time he's out of the lineup, Barca perform like shit. And every time he's in the lineup, we look like a completely different team. So to me, Frankie de Jong is looking good. There's no doubt in my mind that when he leaves this club, he will be in club legend because he's that good of a player and the fans love him that much. Not much else to say. Moving on to Neymar, club legend. Club legend, there's nothing to say here. Neymar was brought in for 88 million from Santos, where he's a fucking phenom. Won a Libertadores with Santos. People forget how good he was there. He made 186 appearances for Barca, 105 goals, 78 to 76 assists, almost a goal and an assist per game, which is fucking crazy. Won a UCL, won 2 La Ligas, won a Club World Cup, won 3 Copa del Reyes, obviously won the treble for us. Was a pivotal part along with Messi, that team that won the UCL in 2015. He was joint top scorer with Messi and Ronaldo that season in the UCL. Insanely good player. I mean, to me, after Messi, the biggest part of that MSN show was Neymar. More than Luis Suarez, I think he's a better player than Luis Suarez. When I'm talking about best players of this generation, I'm talking about Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar right there. I can honestly argue in terms of football ability, he's a better footballer than Cristiano Ronaldo because Neymar did it all. He could play make, he could shoot, he could dribble. I mean, this guy's talent is immense. He obviously went to PSG. And it hasn't been good for him. He kind of ruined his career. Injuries have completely derailed his career. But I mean, this guy, while he was at Barca, 2015, 2016, Messi was out. This guy almost carried the team along with Luis Suarez. 2014, 2015, like I said, he was insane. His first season at the club with Tata Martino, who barely played him to start. When he got in, he played amazing. Scored in El Clásico, I remember that year. 2016, 2017, his final season at the club, he was ridiculous. I mean, this guy, every season he was at Barca, he delivered. He scored goals. He assisted. He was a team player. He wasn't selfish. He would pass to Suarez. He would pass to Messi. They played off each other so well. That's why those 3 guys are the greatest trio in the history of football. And it's not even fucking close. So to me, Neymar, club legend. A legend of the game. I really wanted this guy back at Barca this season because I love him that much. He's honestly one of my favorite players of all time. I think after Messi, it's Neymar, my favorite player of all time. Club legend. Like I said, there's not much else to say along with Luis Suarez. The two of the 3 that form part of the greatest trio of all time. And yeah. Moving on to the final 3. And this is really going to fucking hurt. Because this is insane. I mean, Antoine Griezmann is going to be a flop. Now, that's not to say that Antoine Griezmann's a bad player because he's not even close to a bad player. But he was at Barca. While he was at Barca, he flopped, and it wasn't really his fault. But anyway, let's go through let's just go through the statistics of him at Barca. Barca paid $120 million for Antoine Griezmann, obviously from Atletico Madrid, after having pursued him for a couple years, and they sold him for $20 million. Lost $100 million on Antoine Griezmann. While he was at the club, he made 102 appearances, scored 35 goals, had 17 assists, and won a Copa del Rey, which isn't a bad record. But still, Antoine Griezmann, when you see this guy play for France and for Atletico Madrid this season, and actually for the last year and a half, he's been one of the best players in the world. And while he was at Barca, he was shit because we didn't know how to use him. He got the Riquelme treatment. We played him out on the wing when he's a central playmaker. You know why he didn't work? Because we had the greatest central playmaker, free roamer in the history of football at the time, in Messi. And we brought in a guy who played the same fucking position as Messi. So how do we expect him to succeed? How do we expect him to maximize his ability when you have a guy who's way better than him at his position? But, I mean, we can't do anything with him. What were we supposed to do? And while he was at the club, they played him out on the wing. I mean, it was bad, bro. It was a bad time for Antoine Griezmann. I feel bad because I honestly think he's an amazing player. I think he's so fucking good. One of the best players of this generation, Antoine Griezmann. He's that fucking good, like I said, for France, for Atletico. World Cup 2018, amazing. World Cup 2022, amazing. Every time he plays for Atletico, he's amazing. But at Barca, you know when we could really use him? We could use him right now. We could use Antoine Griezmann right now. We lost Messi. We have Lewandowski, who's shit. Can you imagine Antoine Griezmann playing as a 10? You know, playing as that roamer on this team who could also finish, playmaking centrally. We need that central force like up top, and we could really use him right now, and we don't have him because we decided to sell him for a $100 million loss. Now I get his wages were insanely high, but still, bro, I really wish this guy would have stayed at Barca for a little bit. I really wish Bartomeu knew how to do business better, and I really wish we wouldn't have brought him in at the time when we had fucking Messi, because we're not gonna bench Messi for Griezmann because that's dumb. But at the same time, you don't bring in a guy like Griezmann and play him out of position because that's also fucking dumb. So to me, Antoine Griezmann is going to be a flop. Again, not because of his ability or because he was bad for us, but because we didn't know how to use him. And because we brought him in when we didn't need him. So yeah, Antoine Griezmann is going to be a flop. Next, we got Ousmane Dembele, who's also going to go into flop. For me, fuck this guy, by the way. Honestly, I have a lot of anger towards him. For, you guys know why. I mean, we got this guy for 135 million from Borussia Dortmund. He was a fucking phenom at Borussia Dortmund. He was one of the most talented youngsters in the world. And we sold him for 50 million this past summer to PSG. And he's been pretty shit for PSG. I mean, not shit. Like, he's been doing his thing, but he hasn't scored. He's scored one goal. I think he's barely assisted. In 185 appearances for Barcelona, he scored 40 goals, had 43 assists, won 3 La Ligas, won 2 Copa del Reys, won 2 Super Cups. The one moment that every Barca fan, no matter what, Dembele could have honestly scored 1,000 goals for Barca. The one moment every Barca fan is going to remember is that goal that he missed against Liverpool at the Camp Nou. Because that's something that every Barca fan has right here. I know it for a fact. Every Barca fan that watches this video, you'll know that's the one moment out of everything Dembele did for Barcelona, that's the one most memorable moment that he had. And when your most memorable moment is that, I mean, you don't have a good time at the club. Now, Dembele, in terms of like as a player, he missed more games while he was at Barca than he played. He missed almost like 2 full seasons when he was at the club. Honestly, this guy barely fucking played. He missed like over 100 games, and he played 185 games, but I think he missed over 180 games. Something crazy like that, honestly. Or maybe he missed 100 games. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But he missed a ton of games. That's not really a news to anybody. But Ousmane Dembele was also inconsistent while he was at Barca. There was games where he played and he was fucking unplayable. I remember the 4-0 against Real Madrid in 2022, Xavi's first season at the club, where he was fucking insane. But then there was games where he was fucking shit. Like he just like he wasn't good. Like this is the same guy that got subbed out of the World Cup before halftime for France. Remember that, the World Cup final against Argentina? He got subbed out because he was so shit. So Dembele had his ups and he had his downs, but to pay 135 million for a guy, and he doesn't, like, he's injured half of the time, and when he plays, he can be effective sometimes, but not really effective every time. And when your most memorable moment is missing a wide open net or a pseudo wide open net to basically send your team to a Champions League final, to me, you're going to be a flop. Again, he's not a bad player, and I didn't want Barca to sell him because I think he was one of our best players. I think he's a guy that honestly we could use right now. But when you betray the club like that too, I mean, Xavi backed you. The club, the fans, like, although we were sometimes, like, the fans at the club sometimes booed him, like at the stadium booed him sometimes, but that was also because of his own doing. But they backed you still. After you came back from injury, you played and you started playing well. Xavi actually found something. He got something out of you, and then you decide to leave to PSG just like that. You're like, oh yeah, fuck you guys, I'm gone. Yeah, to me, you're going to be a flop, and there's really not much else to say. And finally, Philippe Coutinho, flop. Like, flop. I mean, there's really not, like, he's a flop. Barca paid 135 million for Philippe Coutinho. They sold him for 20 million. The guys I think he's 32 years old or something crazy like that. I mean, he's still fairly young, and he's playing in the Qatari League. He played for Aston Villa, of course. He made 106 appearances for the club. He scored 25 goals, had 14 assists. He won 2 La Ligas. He won 2 Copa del Reys. This guy, actually, kind of, his most memorable moment was he was a Barca player who was on loan at Bayern Munich, and he scored 2 goals against us in the A2, and he won a Champions League with them. He actually fucked us over more than he helped us because he was part of that massacre that happened, obviously, in Lisbon, I'm pretty sure, in that COVID year in the Champions League. But anyway, Coutinho is notorious for being one of, if not the worst transfers in the history of football. I mean, this guy sucked for Barca. I can remember maybe 2 good moments he had at the club, 3 maybe. The goal against United, the goal against Spurs, the Clásico, the 5-1, he was pretty good there. But other than that, I mean, he was shit. We thought he was going to be the next Neymar, the Neymar replacement, but he was not even close to being Neymar. I mean, this guy, I don't know what it was with him. Honestly, I don't know what it was with him, but the moment we brought him in, he just didn't deliver, like, at all, and it was kind of sad to watch, honestly. And the way his career's gone is pretty sad to me as well. But yeah, Philippe Coutinho, when you buy it, like, 135 million paid, 20 million sold, the business, and we wonder why this club is broke. We wonder when we have fucking numbers like this. Let me just go through it one more time. Griezmann paid 120, we sold him for 20. Dembele, 135 million paid for him, sold him for 50. Philippe Coutinho paid 135 and sold him for 20. Yeah, Coutinho is going to be, to me, a flop. There's really, like, it's not news to anybody. Well, guys, that is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Kind of a rant, but when I talk about my club, I'm pretty passionate. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. You guys can see the tears right here. A lot of flops. Not very many club legends. Like, some looking good, some looking bad, one looking medium. But anyway, like I said, if you guys have any other clubs you guys want me to do this with, let me know in the comment section. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.